What's up, y'all? I'm back out here on the range on what seems like a late spring or early summer day out here. I was just out here less than a week ago, bundled up in a jacket, freezing temperature below 30 degrees, and now it's supposed to hit 80 today. I'm back out here in shorts and a t-shirt, and then tomorrow it's back down into the high 50s. So crazy time of year for the weather for sure. All that being said, we got some wind howling out here, but I got everything weighed down so we can get through a few good jelly tests. So of course we got the jelly contraption set up out here with the chronos and 2 freshly melted blocks of gel. All y'all jelly snobs out there, I know this will be y'all's favorite test of the batch with absolutely no tracks in it. So really nice clear picture here. Of course, as always, I got the heavy clothing barrier set up on it with the layer of denim, fleece, and 2 layers of cotton t-shirt. And what we're checking out with this one should be something a little fun and interesting, something a little different. I'm going back to some 22 and actually some 25 also. So my main reason for testing this right here is I'm gonna test this 25. It's just some FMJ, but I picked up this new little tool from my local shop. It's been actually a few months ago now. I just hadn't had a chance to mess with it. It's just one of a little ring of fire type gun. It's a Falcon brand. It's actually the Falcon model 2032, made in West Germany. So before the reunification, so that was pretty cool. That was one thing that kind of drew me to it. Pretty unique little form factor here too. It's almost like a bullpup looking thing, like that Bond Arms bullpup, the way they've got the grip so far forward on the slide. And really the box kind of swayed me into getting it even as much as the tool did. As y'all can see, it come with the original cool little box here, and it's got the original tag from Kmart, $24.94. So I just couldn't resist that little thing. So anyway, we're gonna test it out here with some FMJ. It's just a 50 grain FMJ, the PMC Bronze. Velocity saying 750. I feel pretty sure we're not gonna hit that out of this little Falcon here. Now I figured what we do is we put up some Federal Punch 22 LR against it. Y'all know it. I think it goes without saying from my previous test, this is by far, in my opinion, the best defensive round if you're going to use 22 LR for defense. This stuff is purposely made for short barrels. It's a 29 grain truncated cone is what they call it. So it's a solid flat nose there, and it's actually 1070, and that's out of a 2-inch barrel, and we hit that and then some out of those short barrels. So that's a really big benefit to this punch. It is truly formulated for these short barrels. So then of course the tools obviously is that Falcon that I just showed you. That's got a 2¼ inch barrel. I just measured it. And then for the 22, I'm gonna use my Beretta Bobcat here. This has got a 2.4 inch barrel. So this ought to be a pretty interesting one. If I had my guess right now, I'd say that punch is gonna come out ahead as far as the energy, velocity, probably the penetration and everything, just because it's made for these short barrels. But let's get this stuff set up and let's find out. All right, y'all, let's figure out how fast these things are moving. I'm gonna do a 5-round average for both. We'll start with this 25 out of this Falcon first. Now, I've got a feeling we're getting ready to see all kinds of jams going on here. As a matter of fact, I ran 3 rounds, the only 3 rounds I've ever run through this thing right when I got here, just to see if it would actually even function. And the first round, I had a failure to feed the next one. That second round, once I got it fed, cycled perfectly. And then that last round, stovepipe. So it's probably gonna give us some jams, but that ain't really important. I ain't planning on carrying this thing. So we'll do a 5-round average on each. Now, if y'all not familiar with this radar, you'll get multiple readings on it. Your large number is going to be your muzzle velocity, and then you'll have 5 additional ones across the bottom. One of them set for 3 yards, which is roughly where the gel is, and then I've got 10, 15, 25, and 50, I believe it is. 10, 15, 25, 50. Yeah, that's what it is. Now, with these light projectiles, sometimes we don't get out at that distance, so it may not get out that far. But now remember, the box is saying 750. I certainly don't expect to see that. And see, I had a failure to kind of stove jammed up on the top right there. So I expect we're probably going to have feed issues, but we'll get through it. No more rounds than what we got to run with this thing. Let's see what she gives. Got 727, and yeah, see, it's jamming up there on the top. I'll have to maybe clean it up. I ain't done nothing with this thing, to be honest with you. Got 735, that one cycled. I believe that one cycled. 709, 711, and 726, and I think we did get all the way out to 50, so they all cycled except that first one. I'll tell you one thing about this, that little floor plate there, it's sharp on the edge, it digs into your finger right there, so let's check out what that average was. All right, so we were actually closer than I thought to that 750. We had an average of 722, an extreme spread of 25, and a standard deviation of 11.0, so really not too bad at all through this 2 1/4 inch barrel. Let's reset it and check out the punch. All right, let's see what this 22 LR punch does. 5 rounds of it also. Now remember, the box is saying 1,070 out of a 2 inch barrel, so at 2 and 2.4 we should see that 1,070. Let's see what it does for us here, y'all. Everything on. All right, good to go. Definitely louder, so 1,070 right on the dot. 1101. Whoo, that was 75 yards. 1,100. And 1121. And 1110, so that was all 5, was that it? Yeah, that was it. So it hit that 1,070 and then some. That first one was right on, but once it heated up a little, it got on up there. Let's check that average out. All right, so our 5 round average that time from the punch was 1,100 feet per second. Extreme spread, a little bigger than I like to see from the punch, but I'm gonna attribute that to that low first cold barrel round. So extreme spread was 50 with a standard deviation of 18.8. So definitely right much faster than that 25. Of course, it's almost getting close to twice as heavy. So 1,100 out of this, and if you remember out that 25, it was 722. So what's that? 378 feet per second faster from that 22 LR. And again, it's almost half the weight. So stands to reason. As far as what's going to happen in the gel, I'm very curious to see what the 25 does. It's probably going to do some tumbling just because it's an FMJ, but I'm curious to see what kind of penetration we get from the punch. We're gonna see easily that 12 inches, probably 14 to 15, but let's get this stuff set up and y'all know what time it is. All right, y'all, it's Falcon punch jelly time. I'm gonna put one of each into the gel, starting with this 25 first. Again, I just expect some tumbling out of this. Only curiosity here is what's the penetration gonna be. So hopefully this thing don't go out the block. I don't know, really. Not really got the point of impact down on this one just yet. All right, that should have been good. Let me go see what I got. All right, y'all, pretty much what I figured to see down there. It definitely tumbled at least once, and looks like it might have hit 12. I don't think it quite hit that 12 inch. So let's see what this punch does. I expect about the same from this punch, but probably more penetration. Let's see what happens here. All right, that should have been a good one right there. Let's go see what we got. All right, let's check out what we got down here, y'all. Unfortunately, you probably noticed the chrono had some kind of goof up for whatever reason and didn't get the proper speed on this punch. However, I'll put the, you've already seen it, but I put the average from the 3 yard off that lab radar. That's one good thing about running both of them. I've still got that 3 yard, which is basically right where this gel is. But anyway, as you can see, I greatly underestimated the penetration on this punch. I've seen it do this and plenty more several times, but it's usually been out of like the TX22, so I figured this shorter barrel would keep it in the first block, but it still just wanted to keep going. That punch for a 22 LR, I mean, that's absolutely fantastic. That kind of penetration from a 22 LR out of a 2.4 inch barrel is perfect. I know a lot of people think this is over penetration, but I can assure you in a 22 LR with this energy, that is not over penetration. Really the only thing you need to count on in 22 LR is penetration, because you ain't counting on no expansion from anything out of short barrels like this, so you want that penetration. So anyway, as you can see, it came in here a little bit of disruption. It never gets a whole lot, it's just a flat nose, so disruption anyway carries on through that first block into the second one. Now it didn't tumble tumble till almost the end of its travel, probably when it was slowing down and losing its balance there, because it's sitting down here backwards. So it definitely tumbled right there, sitting down there backwards, no kind of expansion, deformation, or anything like that. And then as far as the 25 up above this, it worked a little bit differently, but kind of the same. You can see it comes in here. Now, up until the point that it tumbles, it got far less than that flat nose 22 LR. So you got that tumble right there. Actually, you got two tumbles because it's sitting back forward down here, the projectile is, so it had to tumble twice right there. When that tumbles, which is what you want to see from the FMJ, that's nice disruption there. But again, very, very short on the penetration, and the energy on this does not, that disruption does not make up for the lack of penetration and energy, because you're talking, just off the top of my head, of course, y'all have already seen it, this is going to be sub 50 foot-pounds of energy out of that 25. Now, the punch is not that much better. It's going to be well under 100, but that's just some really, really low energy out of both of these. So penetration, in my opinion, is what you are looking for in these really small, really weak, relatively speaking, calibers. But let's see what kind of penetration we did actually get. So that 25 stopped at just barely at 10.5 inches. So short of even the FBI standard, if that's what you go by. So 10.5, in my opinion, that is not enough penetration. For sure, the punch is out here at exactly 21 3/4. So the punch got all the penetration and then some. Not really a whole lot different to look at up close, but as you can see, before that tumble, you definitely had a little more disruption down there on that flat nose punch on the bottom. Keeps on trucking. There's your double tumbles from that 25. That's where all your disruption comes from. And then you can see the projectile sitting there forward. Now the punch, on the other hand, keeps on trucking all the way through that first block into the second one, tumbled once right there, and it's sitting there backwards. All right, y'all, let's check out these projectiles. Really nothing to see here, no surprise. Obviously, that's the 25 here on the right. As you can see, completely intact, no kind of flattening of the point, no deformation at all. And then on the left here, that's your punch 22. Only thing you can see here, and I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it with this lighting, the little flat point there has got some little bit of dimples on it from the cloth as it entered. But other than that, both of these things completely intact. So let's measure them and get a little bit of data at least. So the punch started at 29 and it's at 28.9 grains, so obviously nothing lost there. The FMJ PMC here started at 50 and it's at 50.1, so again, nothing lost from either one of these. As far as the sizes on them, we'll just get a couple base measurements and a length. You got 224 with a length of 342. That was on the punch 22 LR. And then on your 25 here, you got 251 with a length of 465. And there you have it, y'all. The Federal Punch 22 LR against just some basic PMC Bronze FMJ in 25 ACP. But really what I expected to see here, massive penetration out of this punch. I actually expected a little bit less from the shorter barrel, but I should have known. I've seen it go this distance on shorter barrels before. It's made for that specific purpose. Again, if you are using 22 LR for self-defense, especially out of a short barrel, if you're not using punch, you're doing it wrong. I'm just telling you, this is the best option. Forget about the whole tumbling. It may not tumble. Forget about any kind of expansion, because that's reliably not going to happen. And even if it does, at the energies you're getting from it, it's just not effective like it would be penetrating and getting to what you need to get to. The 25 here on the other hand, about the same thing, just less penetration though. It did tumble, so you got more disruption, but again, at these kind of energies, that's just more pretty to look at in the jail than anything else. I'm just telling you right now, you want more penetration than that. Now, obviously, you're gonna get into the whole debate about center fire versus rim fire reliability, but I can tell you right now, out of all the rounds of this 22 punch that I've tested, I have never had a single fail to fire of any kind out of any tool that I've tested this in. So that right there is not even an issue for me. So taking that out of the equation, it's this 22 LR punch easily. If I had to choose between one of these two, it would easily be this 22 LR punch. All right, y'all, I'm calling it right there for what was a pretty interesting first test of the day. Again, for me, this is a very easy decision. If I was forced to choose between one of these rounds in one of these barrel lengths, it's that 22 LR punch all day. For reasons I've already said, the penetration is really the only thing you need to be concerned about in either one of these calibers in the situation with these short barrels, especially because you're not going to get the adequate expansion. You're getting just very, very low energy anyway. So you want that penetration. You at least want that little bit of energy to get to where you need it to get. But different strokes for different folks, so let me know down in the comments what y'all think. If you had to choose between one of these in these two particular barrel lengths, which one would it be and why? If you did enjoy the video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you got your notifications turned on so you get notified when I upload new stuff. Make sure you check out those affiliate links down in the video description. Anything you buy after going through those links down there, I get a kickback from them towards the channel, so I really do appreciate that. Once again, a big thanks to all my range gang members and every one of y'all for supporting the channel the way y'all do. I've got some really interesting stuff planned for out here today, so make sure you stay on the lookout, and in the meantime, stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll see you soon.